Well, welcome along, everybody. Tonight we do have, of course, the Australian Drift Club streaming some practice here. Big weekend coming up. It is the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series kicking off for 2023 this weekend at Winton Raceway. It's going to be absolutely massive year in 2023, and great to see so many pro drivers into this weekend. I do believe we are running a top 24 in the pro category, and huge announcement, as you can see on the Hi-Tec Drifting Australia page, and it's fantastic to see that there will be a collaboration with the Australian Drift Club this coming year in 2023 as we try and get back to Sydney Motorsport Park in 2024. So we see so much stuff happening in the drifting community over there, and it's great to be associated with the Australian Drift Club as well to build the sport of drifting, as we see so many other clubs in Victoria as well, up in Queensland, and if we can just bring drifting together in Australia, and hopefully we can get a fantastic series going as part of the Hi-Tec Drifting Australia All-Star Series. So tonight we've got some practice going on for Winton Motor Raceway. We've had a lot of talk and chatter about the different layouts, and we do have a very new team coming up this year as well, which is fantastic to see, as we've lost the great Dan Mackey this year, who's taking a bit of a step aside. His announcement today was that our judges for this year, Glenn Atkins, is actually taking over as head judge, and will be fantastic to have him on board, as well as coming off International Women's Day today. Erin Burns is going to be joining us. Who has a lot of experience behind the wheel, and of course been around drifting for a number of years, but great to see her joining the judging team in 2023. And of course the man himself, JDM James Martin, is back for 2023, and of course we all know he loves a good S13 chassis as well. So good to see JDM returning for another year of judging here. It's going to be great going back to Winton Motor Raceway, where they've supporting support for as well there, and you can see on screen we've already got a few of the people in the server. A lot of obviously the normal Australian Drift Club entrants, but of course a few of our pro drivers getting on tonight as well to get a bit of a crack at what we're going to do with the layout. Something a little bit different this year is we are going to be starting the lead car on the right hand side as we head back towards the front section of the track. As they come onto the main straight, there's a bit of a touch and go zone as they initiate there. It's a touch and go zone there at the back end of the car as they go through the apexes of these next two corners. You need to be about a metre off the apexes where we're looking, and then there's this massive fill zone. You see it on your screen there. On the left, then switch back to the right and get the car through there. So a little bit going on there. The driver's giving a chance to try this track layout out. We've released it very early for this round, just in the hope that everyone gets their head around it, and we want to see some really good door-to-door action coming up this weekend at Winton Motor Raceway. Of course, we have a look at some of the times. The schedule coming out so far looks like you will be able to get in for anyone who wants to come out Saturday and check out practice. It's happening from about lunchtime onwards. All of our practicing for the morning, we do have some practice in the morning from 9 a.m. for everybody. However, for all those out there that are just coming in from about lunchtime onwards, and then our Pro-Am qualifying happens Saturday afternoon from 1:50 p.m. and our Pro-Am Top 24 from 3:15 p.m. before we head into about 6 p.m. in the afternoon. We'll get that Top 24 run and done for the Pro-Am qualifying. And then we turn to race day, or competition day, I suppose, Sunday. Hopefully I'm not too muffled for you out there. We'll try and turn this down just a fraction. See if we can get those levels right for you out there. Competition kicks off on Sunday. And of course, we've got our very, very early judges track walk out there at 7:45 a.m. So no one with any sore heads on Sunday, please. It's going to be a big one. As we get out, something very different this year is we are going to have the pro qualifying coming your way Sunday morning. So qualifying same day as our competition, so that happens at 10:45. If you want to come down, spectators, gates open at 10 a.m. So make sure you get down and check that out. Our top 24 pro qualifying from 10:45. Then we've got our top 24 from 11:45 a.m. before we have our lunch break. Live stream kicks off at 1 p.m. So if you can't make it down to Winton Motor Raceway, 1 p.m. is the time to check it out. Of course, it is on the Hi-Tec Oils Drift All-Stars page. Make sure you're the Hi-Tec Drift page. Check that out. It will be happening from 1 p.m. our live stream. We head straight into our top 16 then for Pro-Am, top 16 for Pro, all the way down, top 8, top 4 for both of them before we get into our final battles there. And hopefully we're all done and getting the victory skids out of there at 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon, so we can have a little break on Sunday night and everyone can get back to their life. So a few of us have Monday public holiday, which is good to recover. A few of us are going to be travelling home pretty quick, I'd say, to get back to work. So Sunday, these are the times really if you're going to come down Sunday. Spectators 10 a.m. opening. And of course, our pro qualifying kicks off 10:45. So really, it makes a great day of it. Not only you don't miss out on the qualifying from Saturday, you get to see all of that action as well. And hopefully we will see some highlights on the live stream. Of course, our top 16 kicking off from 1 p.m. and so the live stream will be there. Hopefully everyone watching out there. Of course, I do have the comments open. I am going through them. Got to flick through a few of the pages, but if you want to find out what is going on, send us a message there on wherever you join us on YouTube. or Facebook or Twitch. I've got them all running up. I'm going to go between all the screens just to see who's on, who wants to know a few things. Want to get your computer? Yeah, you do want to get your computer going and get on with the Australian Drift Club boys. They do this quite frequently too. Got their own little competition going. A bit of a shout out to Brodie Armstrong there. You'll see him in his S13 a bit later up on track. But I mean, the amount of time this kid gets into building these tracks from scratch, how he has to actually break this down, take a Google Maps picture, then go down to the track, talk to a lot of people, get the undulations right, get the ripple strips right, really make it so realistic to what we are going to see at Winton Motor Raceway. It's a real credit to him, that's Brodie Armstrong, and what he does behind the scenes for the Australian Drift Club to make this happen. And of course, big shout out to all the team putting out the live streams everywhere. As you can see it putting a screen. It's Trent Brock there in the Flash Smith livery, I suppose, getting around there, and I'm not quite sure if that's Patrick Barley behind him or Mark Barley, because they got the same Corvette out there. We know Mark likes getting the bros Corvette when it comes to the online drifting. Doesn't get a chance to do that in real life, has to stick in the S13, the old car really, and come to a bit of unfortunate mechanical issues last weekend or a couple of weekends ago at Keep It Reed, so I'm sure they'll be all over that. They are a dedicated race team, the Barleys, with a lot of racing pedigree. They will turn those cars around and make sure they are ready to go at Winton Motor Raceway. Patrick Barley, obviously, with a fresh engine combination of that car, and I think they might have just given a little bit of a tickle there at Keep It Reed. Hopefully they can get that sorted and be back out there. I know they will be working hard to make that happen. There you go, Patrick Barley on your screen now, just at the back there in the Corvette. We're running him out a couple at a time, and now he's just going to go off in the grass. Good old Paddy Barley. Good to see him make his way. He's been in the drifting for about 6 years, from memory now. He's 15 when he started off up there in the Northern Territory. And the big change for Patrick Barley this year is he's actually moved down to Victoria, living in the outskirts of Melbourne. Big change for him, big change of scenery. So he's a bit closer to the car now because it does live down there. There's the big smoke. Who are we looking at? The big... Oh, we're going through them all now. That's what I like to see. And they are getting out on track. 9 years drifting. He's already... Look, he's listening to me. He knows exactly what's going on. I can't believe you're that old already, Paddy. Can't believe you've got that old on me already. I'm feeling real old now. Well, let's have a look. Michael pulls us out, and of course the Sam Tabush livery is live tonight. There's a few of them out there. They haven't sent them in, so we'll wait and see. You have a look down the bottom left corner. You can see who's out there, and he's in the lead over there. So here we go. Look, Paddy's giving me all the news. So we are running the same motor as he did at Keep It Reed. It is fine. So just a bit of a health check on that one, and they are good to go. A bit of a timing cover issue there, so it looks like they didn't want to risk it down there and take it into the battle for third, but yeah, look, it's good to hear that. Sorry, the battle for first, sorry, and no, it was battle for first. God, I'm having a memory blank there, Paddy. Good to see though. I'm glad to hear that news. I'm sure your dad was all over that one very, very quickly, him and Tony, so that's great news to see. Just having a look up on screen. Look how close it is when they come to the virtual battles. Even the contact made there, but they've already gone past the finish line. We are hoping this layout will really induce some great door-to-door action here. It's about making it nice and technical as we set the car up for those final couple of corners, but also ensuring that the cars are side by side, because there's nothing better than looking at these great door-to-door battles. See the initiation zone, you see the markers up the back end. There's a bit of a blue line there. This one, we won't worry about this run. This one's run and done there. Patrick Barley coming up in the chase, but as we can see, Trent is having a few issues in the front. It wasn't a smooth run this time round, and they will reset that and get ready to go again. But it's good to see everyone starting to make a bit of a turnout here on the live stream. And good to see the association there with the Australian Drift Club as they send it out live on all their social medias here tonight. We thought we'd jump on, just have a bit of a chat about the different layout here and what's happening this weekend and the new judges and everything new that's going to be part of the Hi-Tec Drifting Australia and the association now with the Australian Drift Club in 2023, so we can try and build it back up in Sydney there, and then obviously get the Hi-Tec series that's televised, and of course we got the Brick Pro competition in that, and try and build that up, as well as we know that there's so much going on in the Hi-Tec oil scene. You see the Super Series announced, supported by George as well, and that's one's going to be another great series coming up as well the following weekend at Winton Motor Raceway. So plenty going on down there, and it's great to see we have so many people joining us from the Victorian clubs as well as the New South Wales clubs, and of course the Queenslanders coming down. It's starting to cool down a little bit down here now, so maybe we're going to get a cool night or two out there, so you won't be sweating too much if you're coming down from Queensland this weekend, I wouldn't think. If you just joined us on the stream, yeah, we are just going through a few things. I'm just going through the comments at the moment. Got to bring all my screens up here so I can make sure what's going on. Yeah, it's good to see Thomas. Yeah, Patrick Barley does get on the sim and does a fair bit of work there behind just to get the track line. I think it's just more about getting familiarity with the track when it gets down there. The virtual tracks correspond to the real life schedule. Well, the virtual tracks are built by Brodie Armstrong, who's part of the Australian Drift Club, helps out behind the scenes, and hours go in. You start with a Google Maps layout, and then you've got to figure out the undulation, the changes, where the ripple strips are, all that signage in the background, painting the buildings, where the tyre barriers go. Individually, he spends hours making that happen. So in association with a lot of the drivers, the competitors, people who are local near the tracks, he'll talk to a lot of them as well and make sure that he gets down there and just modify the tracks to try and make it as realistic as possible. So I'd say it's fairly close, actually, talking to most of these virtual drivers. And big shout out to Brodie Armstrong. We could not do it without him, and I don't think I've seen him come up for a bit up there on the screen. And this will be Paddy and Mark Barley, the brothers in unison out there, both driving the C6 Corvettes. Good to see a few people joining us on the stream tonight, and pop down if you want to get on and make a few comments, find out what's happening this weekend. Just put a bit of a shout out there, we'll get it going. Good to see that on Twitch, of course, we do have everyone wanting to give us plenty more people to watch and offer us promotion, of course. That always seems to happen when we get the live streams up and running, but great to see everyone on a cool, calm Wednesday night. Hopefully there's a few people sitting back in the sheds. I see Brody Mayer, who is the reigning champion in the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series in 2022, has made it across from the island state and has got the car done, especially after a few weeks ago we saw that devastating news where it looks like the engine on the mighty XR dropped a valve, and now back up there and pushing over 800 horsepower out of that car. That is intense, and I can't wait to see that unleashed this Saturday and Sunday coming up for the Hi-Tec Oars. Round number 1 at Winton Motor Raceway. You see it coming the main straight. Couple of big fill zones there, and that's going to be where the cars start to pick up a little bit of speed. So they'll be hoping they can dial in a fair bit of grip there. Is the QR layout somewhere out there? That is a question for the Australian Drift Club. I'm going to let one of the boys answer that one, because if there isn't a QR layout, judging by the fact that we are going there this year, I say there is one in the coming weeks or coming months. There probably will be a QR layout of some description, and I'm sure if you can assist the boys with that, they'll be happy to get any feedback they can. Here you go. All tracks will be built to mirror the Hi-Tec layouts. So as the Hi-Tec rounds go to these tracks, we will be the Hi-Tec Drift Club. Sorry, the Australian Drift Club will be behind the scenes building these tracks. We'll be putting out driver education. Obviously, we'll be going through the clipping zones, the layouts as they come down. So the other thing about doing this virtually too and getting the tracks laid out early is that the judges get on there and have a go on the sim as well. Suss a few things out. We know it's not the same as real life. They are experienced. They've been to these tracks before, but if they get on the sim and have a little bit of a go at it, sort some things out, change some things around, they're going to try and get these track layouts done very, very early so everyone can get on and trial themselves, get set up, understand where they are. And if you're a local, you get down there and actually check the track out. Maybe if you've got some local rounds there as well, you can really start to get your eye set in for this Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series for 2023. So Patrick Barley's he's done like 600 laps at the Queensland layout. So, and he qualified really well there too in Queensland. So a bit of time behind the sim. I know I get behind the steering wheel and I can't do it really. Give me a normal car any day. But look, if you can get behind the sim and get your eye in, definitely going to get you a little bit of muscle memory going into these events. Good to see a few people joining us out here on the stream tonight, and a big shout out to the Australian Drift Club for everything they're doing to make this happen. It's so good to have this association with the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series and everybody coming on board. Pavlov coming out now. A few of them sharing some of the liveries out there with some of their favourite drivers. You see him coming to the front now. Now the lead driver is going to be on the right, so the left-hand side of the screen, but the right-hand side of track, and they will cross, creating a mobile clipping point for the chase car behind them. So something a little bit different than what we haven't done at Winton. Normally you will see the lead car come out on the left-hand side and go down and just Scando it in, not wanting to cross over into the path of the chase car. Different this time round. The judges have laid a different layout, something different. They think it's going to make the drifting a lot better, a lot more side by side. Is that the lead car will lead from the right-hand side, will cross the track to Scando in, set themselves up for that first corner. It's a bit of a touch and go zone. You'll see the boxes out there go through 1, 2, 3. There's a blue line out there. That's only a small section. Don't have to fill it. It's a touch and go. These next two sections, you'll see the yellow lines out there on track. They wanted to be a metre off, so probably a little bit close there by Michael, who's leading us out in this drift train. But there they are. Big fill zones, though, as you come onto the main straight. Big one on the left-hand side, big fill zone on the right-hand side as well. So that's where we're really going to pick up a lot of speed. Set yourself up. You get those first couple of corners wrong, it's going to make it very difficult to drive out under power to fill those big clipping zones there at the end. So we'll go through a bit of a run-through later because our judges with the Australian Drift Club have put together a little bit of a driver's brief, I suppose, a bit of a track run layout, informative video, which we'll run through very shortly. And it really shows you what the judges are going to be looking for. We've got some changes coming in the judging, which is some announcements that will be coming up very shortly too. So I can't wait to see them get let out as well. Good to see we've got some much love internationally. Where are you from? Let us know where you're from if you are not watching us from Australia. This is a track that's about 3 hours out of Victoria in Australia, 3 hours north. If you're coming down from Sydney, it's probably about 7 or 8 hour drive, not near the coast. Used by supercars here in Australia, if you're familiar with those. They do get out there and do a lot more racing here at Winton Motor Raceway, so it is a quality track. It's not a backyard track. It's used by Premier Racing in Australia, I suppose, the Premier Racing Series. Will the tracks be public? I reckon you should get onto the Australian Drift Club and get part of their Discord team, because I know that's where you can get them. Not sure where Paddy. I'm going to get the information for you. That's what's going to happen, Thomas. Sounds like you're going to be on there. After today, yes, they will be released. There you go, Thomas. Get on board. Follow everything to do with the Australian Drift Club, and they will lead you in the right direction when it comes to this sim drifting. That is the answer there. It's always good when we've got so many people working hard behind the scenes. Coming from the UK. Top drivers over the water. The UK, eh? Well, we just had the Island man over here. Dave Egan came and experienced a bit of Aussie drifting at the Keep It Red a couple of weeks ago before he went back to Dubai, and God, that man can drive. I know he's got no ego behind him. He doesn't say he's the best driver, but he definitely can drive, that man. There you go. Oh, you're in Sam's car. There you go. Ah, that makes much more sense. Good to see you joining the Australian Drift Club, and be interested to see what you think the quality of driving is in the sim drifting compared to what you have over there. Hopefully having a good time, enjoying it all. Here he is. Now he's chasing up. Is it Paddy Barley in front? I believe it's going to be. Look him go door to door as well. The man. Learning in progress from the UK. Nice chase run too. Good to see, Andy coming in from the UK. It's great that we've got so many people joining us. I suppose that's what the virtual really has done to us, especially over COVID. Many more people took up the online everything. It was there in the background. A lot of people used it, but really the numbers grew during that COVID period. It's dwindled off a little bit, but it's great to see we can all get together. It's hard to get. It's a lot of travel to come from that side of the country or the world, come over to this country. It's a lot of travel for us to get over there, take our cars, everything, but we can get together in the virtual world here, all thanks to the Australian Drift Club. And just putting on a practice tonight because round one for the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars coming your way this weekend. It is a couple of days away at Winton Motor Raceway in Victoria. If you live down there, not bad to get up and check out the drifting this weekend. Now, we'll go through that schedule again if you have just joined us on the live stream. Of course, Saturday is practice all day for our pros, and our Pro-Am get to do qualifying in the afternoon. So practice opens at 9 a.m. We've got a bit of a lunch break in the middle there. So we go all the way through to about 1:30 there for practice, and then the Pro-Am qualifying kicks off at 1:50 p.m. on Saturday. And, of course, we get our top 24 runs. So we will make a top 16 by the end of Saturday for our Pro-Am category. Now move on to our Pro category, though. Bit of a change up for 2023 is the Pro qualifying will be on Sunday with all of the battles. So it's a big day for all of our Pro drivers. They need to get their eye in Saturday. They need to get everything sorted on their car. because you have a breakage in qualifying, it's going to put you right down the bottom of the battle tree. Of course, the judges' track walk and drivers' briefing, 7:45 a.m. sharp. Show up with your coffee. Don't be hungover. It's always a big morning walking around that track. And then we get underway with our practice from 9 a.m. Our spectator gates open 10 a.m. so you can get in time for our pro qualifying starting at 10:45. And of course, our pro top 24 kickoff at 11:45 a.m. The stream kicks off at 1. So if you are around 1 p.m. will be our kickoff for the live stream if you are watching us. And of course, we'll get through your top 16 on the live stream for Pro-Am and Pro. We'll get all the way down. Of course, we love it about 4:30 p.m. Hopefully, we're doing the victory skids. Good to see Sam Tabush is joining us back here tonight. They're one of the one of the main people, I suppose, behind the Australian Drift Club and doing a fantastic job there in Sydney and promoting their events and getting a lot of people down there and enjoying drifting in Australia. The president of the club, and he's come out in Billick's car. Hectic Billick. Good to see. Do you think Sam can drop down to the SR power, surely? How do we replicate the SR power in the virtual world compared to the RB power? Do we just take half his power away? Can you do virtual rocker changes? Is there like do you have to go in the pits and do rocker changes every 2 runs or something? We'll find out. That'll be an interesting one. Of course, if you do have any questions about the Australian Drift Club or, of course, the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series kicking off on Saturday, Sunday, just put it in the chat. We're happy to point you in the right direction. Always want to get as many people involved in drifting in Australia as we possibly can. Of course, if you're down to Victoria, the Victorian Drift Club, there's Keep It Reet, a few down there. Of course, when you want to go to Sydney, we got a big shout out to the Australian Drift Club and of course Hi-Tec Drifting Australia joining up, and it's a great announcement if you follow the Hi-Tec Drifting Australia Facebook page. An alliance between the two this year in 2023, and of course that's going to make a big collaboration in the next coming years so we can get back to Sydney Motorsport Park in 2024. It was great to do the figure 8 there at the end of last year. It really brought some incredible door-to-door battles there on the figure 8 track, but we love getting back out on the big South circuit or the big North circuit. Huge speeds there, much like we're going to see in these couple of last corners at Winton Motor Raceway this weekend. Patrick Barley Drift is coming up now, and I'm sure they've got their stream running. They do their own little stuff throughout the week. Him and Mark get online and like to check it out. Looks like Mark's going to take off. Paddy's going to wait for this next battle, and it's going to be Trent pulling up alongside of him. And it looks like our man, Brody Armstrong, in the background, that S13, the yellow, purple, and red. Oh, he's in the background. He's the man who builds our tracks. And a huge shout out to Brody Armstrong, because incredible amount of hours going to making this so realistic. Look at this. Switch back here nice and close, and Trent just falls off, goes over the ripple strip. Paddy Barley fills those clipping zones there, and look, I think when it comes to real life on the weekend, he's got plenty of power there, that boy. 434 cubes of good old Chevy V8 power coming out of a late model car, and makes well in excess of 800 horsepower. Naturally aspirated, has a very distinct sound to it with the side pipes coming out as well in a C6 Chevy Corvette. I know there's a lot of hybrid steering and rear end in that car, though. It's not as much Corvette left in it as you'd think, but look, that car is incredible to watch out there, and that carbon Kevlar body as well. There you go. Loves a lead run, though, Trenny. Good old Treno. Did a fantastic job on the lead run. So if you're watching this out, if we've got our drivers watching us, our pro drivers who aren't getting on the virtual series, we'll run through how this is going to go as they take off there. You can see the Billick machine driven by Sam Tabush. Just a bit shallow on that line at the moment, but see him switch back here. They've got to be about a metre off, maybe not turn around. We'll reset this one and go back. That's one of the beautiful things about the virtual world. You don't have to spend hours in the shed later on trying to fix them. It can all be done. I really love how we've tried to replicate it, the sound as best we can too with these cars, because you can definitely tell the V8 versus the SR, even in the virtual world. Check this, Paddy Barley filling that zone there, huge speed. The switch back here though, see angle line, he's about a metre off, so that's where they want to be, a metre off that thing. He gets a bit of a shove in the back, that's going to send him wide. And when we talk about judging on the weekend, that is something. If you make contact with the car in front and alter their line, that's going to really set you down in the marks. Bit of a change to some of the judging this weekend, and that will be released in the coming days. Good to see Thomas Hooper is going to be joining us. Good to see, mate. We love everyone being part of the drift community here in Australia, and it's good to see that it is getting stronger and stronger. We can tell by the numbers of cars at so many drift comps around Australia, and there are many different sort of styles, I suppose, of drifting throughout the world. A couple of different ones here in Australia as well, but we are all about the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars coming up in 2023. And are we being joined by, oh, here we go, Brody Armstrong is actually going to get out there in the Corvette. This is what we like to see. Changing cars up. Just change it halfway through a session, that's okay. It's no different to real life. If you hurt your car, you can go out and borrow someone else's car. So we're all going to borrow Paddy's car. Maybe we should just do a Patrick Barley night. We'll all get in a Corvette. Wow. No drama adapting to that either. That went really smoothly as he got through there. So it's good to see so many people just watching us. Great to see Andy from the Learning in Progress from the UK joining us here tonight as well, getting on top of the server and doing a fantastic job as well. The battles have been really strong there. Two Corvettes. Look how ominous they are with those lights at the front of them as well. They've done a really good job replicating his real-life Corvette of Patrick Barley. But Brody Armstrong going to lead us out there. You see that a metre off the apex here. It's a bit of a touch-and-go zone. You don't really have to hold that front. He's very close there to the ribble strip. That's probably going to have a few deduction and points there. Fills that outer clipping zone there and the final outer clipping zone as well. That one should be a nice, smooth transition. What the judges will look for, though, is they want you to snap to angle. We don't want this slow momentum changes. You slowly get the car to turn and wind angle on. You want the car to change direction, snap on angle, hold that angle throughout that clipping zone. It's a long clipping zone. We want you to feel it, but we want you to be on angle the whole time. We don't want you to come in shallow with very little angle, wind it on halfway through that zone, and then wind it off again. Keep that angle throughout the entire zone. Of course, that's what the judge will be looking for. They'll be looking for the line, they'll be looking for the angle, how fast you're going through it, and the style as well. So there's a few things the judges are going to be looking for. We'll be judging, obviously, the lead car needs to keep that meter off the apex. It allows the chase car to put the nose in and actually stick it in there. They're in front of the smoke as well. Then they can use that lead car as a clipping zone. You'll see this at the start here. The difference we've had is that the lead car starts off on the right-hand side, and therefore the chase car uses them as a clipping zone as they come across. So it's going to be a bit of a change from what we used to at Winton, where normally the lead car starts off on the left-hand side. So it's going to be an interesting weekend coming up, but it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Of course, don't forget, really, Sunday is the day. Pro qualifying kicks off at 10:45 a.m. And then, of course, we get our top 24 at 11:45. 1 p.m. the stream kicks off the top 16. So if you can't make it to Winton Motor Raceway in Victoria, Australia, 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, the live stream will kick off on the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars page. That's where you need to be following, or Hi-Tec Drifting Australia page it is. You see, we just get a few drivers, plenty of laps in tonight, and of course, good to see the Billick machine out there. Even after the rocker change just before, that's where it went, just to get the rockers changed. And we'll Brady Mayer, I'm sure he's probably got billet rockers on that. He's got new valves in that engine. He's got a complete new rebuild on that engine too, Brody Mayer, and the big mighty SR, the billet block that was in the hammerhead used to be in the hammerhead, the World Time Attack. So we know it makes a whole heap of horsepower, huge 9,000 plus RPM, 800 plus horsepower out of that 2.4 litre SR, and that is an absolute machine that any of the SR lovers would want to have in their car. So we'll wait and see how he goes this weekend. And I'm just having a look. That's Sam in the chase run now, and you can see tyres already lit there, and looks like a Brad Tui livery there. The Zestinos, well, they let him down there. He just lost some grip. See Trent now in the chase position. Tries to put it up there. He's going to have to pull out of this one. Resets himself too in the server. Gets back nice and quickly. They do not want it. It's not like the real world where you got to go all the way around the track. You got to fix the car, nut, reset button, and we are good to go again. There we go, Mark. The chase car. We've got a 3-car train. He's in the background. Mark's going to put the nose in though. Looking very comfortable there. Out of zone. You can see not a lot of angle, and that's what the judges will look at. Even in the chase car position, you see not a straight car, not a complete straighten up, but not that snap to angle and hold it there throughout the entire drift. Of course, when we talk about judging, there is criteria, I suppose, where you will lose more points. What is the worst of the two mistakes? And I suppose you want to stick on your line. You can sacrifice a bit of angle to maintain proximity is probably the answer to that question. We don't want you to lose proximity completely. So we'd rather you sacrifice a little bit of angle to make sure you're alongside that lead car. That's probably going to lose less points. And rather than you actually maintain that angle, but the car in front leaves you behind, and you can see the very difference in speed there. And I think we are going to be talking to Glenn Atkins, who's going to be joining us, our head judge for the 2023 season that was announced today. And it's good to see Glenn, who's been behind the scenes of drifting for quite a number of years, joining us. I think we might even have his card out, and they're just testing it out on Saturday, which is going to be fantastic to see. And another big announcement coming from the judging here today also is, of course, we do have Aaron Burns joining us, who's been behind the wheel of her S14 and done a fair bit of drifting here in Australia. Been around the scene for quite a number of years, and I'm loving to see her input and what she'll bring to the judging side this year for the 2023 season of the Hi-Tec Oils Drift All-Stars Series. And, of course, the man himself, JDM, James Martle, is back from South Australia. We thought we'd better bring the South Aussie back and give it a bit of a go. He loves his real technical drifting, James Martle. He loves a nice, tight track, but we're going to make him stick to our way, where we like to go fast and blaze tyres here in Australia. A bit like the New Zealanders and Americans. Bit of an aborted run there as they come through. We'll get through and see who is leading this one out. Well, it's not a grass event. That is not good. No track owner likes anyone going on the grass. Brody Armstrong, he'll be laying out penalties if you hurt his grass. There we go, and we can see him now in the Corvette. He's changed out of his S13. He puts the nose in too. You see, the lead car doesn't leave him enough room there. The lead car needs to be about that meter off the apex there, because the chase car needs to be able to put the nose in without going over the ripple strip. It gives the chase car a chance to use him as a mobile clipping point, I suppose, as they go around. And they need to get that nose in there. It keeps them out of the smoke too, because we do see with some of our pro drivers, and they were announced today, it's great to see some names returning who we haven't seen for a couple of rounds. They made a bit of an appearance in 2022, but it's good to see him back. Aaron Jawar, the man who's been overseas with Mickey Moo. And look, Mickey didn't give him the keys. I'm sure he would have shown the boys what it's all about in Australia when it comes to smoking tyres. The man himself, Aaron Jawar, Dabs, he's bringing the Malay back to Winton Motor Raceway, not too far from his home. Matty Harvey's back, who's done really well in the series the last couple of years, and he was really strong in 2020 when we had a false start to the year with COVID, but started off really strong. The Tasmanian, the Power Plus S13, he's rebuilt engine on that one too. Matty Harvey, good to see him back. James Abbott is back in Nigella, of course. Coming back. Good to see him rejoining us, and let's see what he can do with Nigella this year, the S15. Ben Odgers joining us again as well. Another very good-looking car. Good to see the Link ECU livery coming back on that one too. Of course, Brody Maher back, our reigning champion as well. So some fantastic pro drivers coming here this weekend to Winton Motor Raceway. They are joining us, and we do have a big field. I will go through and have a bit of a look at this one, because I did see the entry list the other day. Let's go and have a look and see if we can find that one. Have a bit of a chat. Don't forget, send us a message if you want to find out what is going on with the Australian Drift Club or the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. We'll try and keep you informed on this stream tonight. We want to make sure everyone knows what's going on this weekend. Hope you come down, have a fantastic time. Enjoy drifting. That's all it is about. There you go, Thomas Hooper. Yeah, thanks, mate. I'm glad you got on Discord and got some tracks going. And look, you can follow us around as part of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series, as well as they will be released as we go to them each time round. Cookie, of course, Corvettes are popular when you can download them. They're much cheaper that way too. I think we need a Cookie Mobile. Where's the comma line? What do we call them? The Skylar door? We need a Skylar door on here. Best talk to the boys, I think. Everyone would love a Skylar door. Dan James, you want to get amongst the action? Get on the Facebook page. You're already on the Australian Drift Club page. Send them a message. Send them a private message. They will tell you how to get involved when it comes to their online series, if that's what you're talking about, or if you want to get involved in some of the on-track action as well. Of course, the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star is pretty easy to find, but the online stuff, it is going to be obviously the Australian Drift Club setting all this up, working with some of the guys like Brodie Armstrong to get these track layouts. They can also help you out behind the scenes if you want to set your car up like this, or just borrow a Corvette. Everyone's borrowing one. Sky Mador AS, but yeah. Look, I'll even get on and drive the Sky Mador because I can afford to do that as well, Cookie. I can't wait to cuddle you this weekend, big fella. It's on. You and me, one single bed. It's happening. So I'm going to have a look at some of the people across the... Well, look, Scott Shembry is back, the Master Chef himself. One half of the Blaze unit, Scott Shembry and James Abbott are back. Lemma Omerod's back. And look, watch for him in the red 86. I mean, he's had a guy behind the scenes that's been helping him out a fair bit building that car. And last season, you know, just teetering off the top three there in their fourth position too. Saxon Moyes, well, hasn't he come from nowhere? I mean, we know he's obviously got a lot of experience doing grip racing, circuit racing. But wow, he has jumped on the scene, and what a team they have. What a team they have. Saxon Moyes, the young gun. He got second in the first ever event he did in the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars up in Queensland. It's his home track. We'd hope he did. But the win there in the final round on the figure 8 track, and Winton's going to be a new experience for him as well. They are loaded up too. I saw on social media and making their way out to Winton Motor Raceway nice and early. I reckon they want to get those practice hours up on Saturday from 9 a.m. They are keen to get on track. Mudgie's going to have a crack at the pro category as well. Good to see Sam Mudge bringing the big RB20 power. Don't we love the big RPM? He's going to have the flame grill out the bonnet. Heard he's steering a couple of weeks back, but it's going to be great to see that he will have that fixed and the parts have been turned around. So Mudgie's going to be back out there. Of course, his good mate Dabs, Aaron Jawar with the big Malay. It'll be flapping in the wind, full noise as he comes around the corners with the big Dabs 427 cube LS. God, that thing revs. I just don't know how he does it. What's happening? Shell Flex. Yeah, well, the old High Flex. Yeah, they've... the great thing about being online is you can pick everyone's car, right? So you two can have a Corvette, and look, we're going to get the Sky Mador happening in the next couple of weeks too. We're going to make sure we get plenty of photos down there and get that happening. I'm sure we can talk to the boys behind the scenes. Everyone loves the good old days of Thunder livery on that as well. Great to see so many people behind the scenes at the Australian Drift Club and the Hi-Tec Oils Drift Series as well, and a bit of a shout out to a couple of them. We couldn't do it at the Australian Drift Club without the help of Sam Tabush, who's the president, does a lot of work behind the scenes, as well as his team here. As you can see, get these together. Brodie Armstrong and, of course, Ian behind the scenes as well, making sure this stream happens. The media man. Look, big shout out to Sam and, of course, the High Flex on the side. His mobile hose business back in Sydney. So if you're up there in New South Wales and you need some mobile hoses done, he is the man to go and see, High Flex. And good to see he's getting plenty of free sponsorship tonight with everyone driving his car. And I do believe it's actually his son's jumped on his sim and having a bit of a crack tonight. So we've got a next generation driver getting involved in the sim, and I'm sure it won't be too long till Sam's got to hand the keys over and build a second drift car. So please buy a hose off Sam, because if he's got to support 2 drift habits, anything could happen. So yeah, he's going to be up there in the Billick S13 a little bit later, but the High Flex cars out there, all your hose needs in Sydney. Big shout out, obviously, to Zoo Performance as well for getting behind the Pro-Am Series once again in 2023 as part of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars, and having Zoo Performance come on the scene and really tried to promote drifting in Australia. It's not just this series, but many others. And if you have never heard of Zoo Performance, the best thing you can do is go and look them up on Facebook or anywhere. Just put in Zoo Performance on the web. You'll see them of course, they're over in New Zealand as well, Thailand, places like that, but they are bringing so many products into the country now. It is seat belts, turbochargers, manifolds, injector rails. I think hoses is a big one. Hoses and fittings when it comes to Zoo Performance, but just about anything you're going to need for your car, Zoo Performance can probably kit out about 90% of your race car now. When you do the winter's diffs, they're bringing in gearboxes and things like that. So best you talk to a local Zoo Performance representative. We know there's a few in the Wagga region or Albury region. I reckon if you go see Matt Grice, who's joined us this weekend, he's entered in the Commodore as well, the big bopper. He's one of the distributors down there if you go and check him out at Cricey's workshop. But we know down in Victoria there's a few places. But yeah, look, get on board. Go and check him out at Zoo Performance, another great supporter of drifting in Australia. Round 1, how many entrants? All right, I'm gonna have a quick look there now. Now I've got onto this one. What am I going to do? I think we've got just over 20 entrants when it comes to Pro. And I think we're not too far off that in Pro-Am too. So I do believe we've got about 20 entrants in Pro-Am and about 22 at the moment in Pro. So yeah, big fields this weekend. Can't wait for that one. It's going to be a huge weekend here to kick things off. Good to see our head judge, Glenn Atkins, is out there in the RX-7. He's decided to get back by, and I saw some little sneaky photos of his RX-7 recently. That's a weapon. It's got a couple of little hair dryers on the side of what looks like an LS and an RX-7. We've seen him in the States do very well in drag racing as well. It's good to see him get that ready for the drift track. So he's going to take a bit of a back seat. He's not going to be behind the wheel competing at the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series this year. He's going to be doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes there when it comes to judging, setting up the tracks, the layouts. There is so much behind the scenes, and we will have a little bit of a sneak peek if you stay tuned to the social media over the coming few months about what goes on behind the scenes, making a bit of television magic there as well, as we like to go back in the studio and cut it down into a nice little 1 hour show that you get to watch on Speed Week. Yeah, it's going to be a nice qualifying for top 16. Of course, we will have top 24, Dan. They will come out, even if we are a couple short of the top 24. But we will obviously get our best and brightest for the top 16, and that will be on this stream from 1 p.m. if you can't make it to the track. So, yeah. We do have a few entries. It's good. Drifting is starting to rise again in Australia, which is fantastic to see. It's not just the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series. Obviously, that is the one that gets on the TV, and we see so many people get around it. It goes on Speed Week as well. And obviously, we sometimes get to see it on a bit of Fox if they like to take that and use the content whenever they can, in a sneaky little hour or two. But it's great to see so many of the other promoters are drifting around Australia going strong at the moment, and it's great that the news there, as you saw on the Facebook page from the Hi-Tec Drift page, that obviously association with Australian Drift Club this year, to be able to do things like this, put this stream on, do the practice rounds, set up a bit of a driver's brief, I suppose, prior to the event, so everyone understands the layout, can go through it, just get their eye in, I suppose, feel comfortable with the track before they get out there. Let's have a look at some of the other ones that have joined us for this weekend. Oh, you want to get on? I'm sure they've got more entrants. You can jump on. The server's going to stay open until we run out of people, I do believe, tonight. We might not keep the stream going up. I'm not going to talk for hours on end. You don't want to hear me talk about. We're not in a competition zone, I suppose. So we're just having fun, enjoying the night. The guys do from Australian Drift Club have a online series though that you can get involved with. So look, if you haven't been online with them before, just send them a message, Flex. The lads know you, so jump online, send them a message and get involved, mate. Get on the server, have a good time. Just have a look. Roger Anson has actually joined us in the S15 now. I don't think we've seen Roger Anson since the South Australia round at the Bend last year. And look, I've seen that car up in Darwin a few times when we go up to the Hi-Tec we go up to Darwin for the Invitational up there once a year. And look, they've got a good program going, I'd say. They're very, very particular about that car. Derek Newsom, another name that rings a bell from, pretty sure Derek's from South Australia as well. Colin Keogh's back as well. It's good to see him joining us. Mark Maternan. Matt Murphy. Now, let's hope he gets that car together. I know he's chasing a couple of little gremlins. The man from ACT, he went up to Queensland and he's got the bug because he didn't get his car up there for a competition, but look, he'll be keen for this weekend. Matty Murphy stepping it up from the Pro-Am category, and obviously he's joined the Pro category, all thanks to Zoo Performance, who put it out there, I suppose, to get someone to, they had to get their social media together. It wasn't just about their driving standards. They had to be competent at driving, but it was about how they promote themselves and put themselves out there. And he's going to come up in a car that's probably not at the level of some of the Pro cars. It's not a full Pro car, as I call it. I suppose it could still be converted to street registration. It probably still has some street rego on it. But Matt Murphy's really going to take you to him. I know he's got the new RB3025 power plant in there, which he used at the last round last year. He had to after hurting the good old faithful. But look, I'm pretty keen to see what Matt Murphy can do. Ben Odgers is back as well. Good to see him rejoining us. Matty Harvey and Brody Mayer from Tasmania again. And look, we're going to go down and join them in Tasmania later in the year too. So that is going to be so interesting. First time the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars is going to be over there on the island state. Benny Mear, I said Matty Grice. Warwick Hill's back, which is good to see. We've seen him sporadically, I suppose, over the last few years. Be good to see him hopefully joining us. Looks like as much as he can in that BMW. I know they've been doing a lot of work on that car in the off-season. Flash is back as well. The Spawn the Drift. Oh, Flash Smith. Now, he actually had a crack at Pro-Am last year. Pro-Am, he did the whole series, but I know he had a little go at the figure 8 in Pro, and he did really well. Now, he stepped the car up. They're going to put that on a semi-slick. Very different to a radial if you've never seen it out there on track. Grip difference. Means you've got to change the setup of the car a bit, but he's had a few people behind the scenes for him a little bit of help. Just setting that car up, and he's looking very comfortable behind the wheel, so it's going to be a big step up for him. Glenno, if you're there, if you can unmute yourself, there's no reason you can't join me here to have a bit of a talk about the layout here this weekend that you've set up for us. A little bit different there, like everyone is noticing that you start on the right-hand side of track, not the left-hand side, so the lead car goes out. Chase car's going to tuck him behind, but then the lead car has to get to the left-hand side and scando that in, set themselves up for that first corner. But we'll just have a look on track here. We'll check this one out here as you see Luke lead us out. I might wait for this next car. Here we go. Luke's going to lead us out. So he's on the right-hand side. He has to get to the left. So the chase car now uses them as a clipping point. Goes through that little touch-and-go zone there. It's going to be about a metre off the apexes here. You'll see the little box section. He's very tight, though. He doesn't want to be that tight. Then there's these big fill zones on it to get the last two. They need to be snapped to transition, get it done, snap the angle, fill those outer clipping zones the whole time. Oh, here we go. The boys are on there having a chat. That's good. I like to see everyone just having a good time tonight. It's a Wednesday night. We're just chilling out here for the Australian Drift Club, putting on a little bit of a live stream so everyone can get excited for this weekend as we kick off the 2023 season of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series at Winton Motor Raceway. And it's great to see that the boys have got the track layout really set. If you actually go, if you're one of the drivers who's part of the Hi-Tec Drift drivers page, you can get on there and actually go through a bit of a driver's brief about where you need to be, and we will have that on the live stream hopefully so you know exactly what needs to happen. Glenn, when are you going to come and talk to us? Don't be shy. I know you're not a shy guy. I did see you unmute yourself for a second there. Just jump in. I can talk all day, you know me. It's what I do. We'll have another look. Is this Isaac DeBush coming out in Billick's car? Look at him go, the young fella. I hope that's him in there, not Sam. I really hope. Oh, he goes a bit wide there. I think Sam's in a bit of trouble there, mate. I really think Sam's in trouble. He's going to either need a second SIM and a really good internet connection, or he's going to have to get a second car, or both. Like, you know, buy a hose off Sam. Hi-Flex. Get a Hi-Flex and get a hose of him in New South Wales. He's got an up-and-coming drifter to sponsor and maintain. So we like to see. Sets himself up here. Nice. Gets that zone way too much angle. You see the pace of the car really starts to slow down, and then the chase car has to tuck him behind and do whatever they can not to make contact. Look at this. Fills it out of clipping zone. Fills it again. Nice angle on that first one as well as they go through. It's what we really like to see. And the judges will talk about it again and again and again. They don't want to see these slow moves to angle. They want you to see go from angle on one side. So say you go to the left, they want you on the left. Then you snap over the angle on and hold that angle as best you can to keep it going. Glenno, you've joined me here, though, out on the live stream. And you're probably the best man to talk about some judging.
Yeah, sorry, man. That was a bit of a microphone issue. But, yeah, no, look, we sort of changed it up a bit this year. We just wanted to try a few different angles, different lines and stuff. Just mix it up, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's, as you can see, a lot of guys adapted pretty quickly to it. A bit of confusion from what I've heard from a lot of people, but look, I think it is what it is. Get in there, have a go. We got the practice lead up on the Friday.
Well, yeah, and you got the virtual for a lot of the guys to get on here as well. So I think it's good for them to see the different change in layout here. and get ready for it, I suppose. They've mentally prepared themselves.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I wanted to do for this year, is sort of not be blindsided coming to an event. Like, you know, a week out or 2 weeks out, look, this is what we're wanting, this is our criteria. And yeah, sort of, if you got a sim, yeah, you're lucky you can get out and practice it, or you can sit there and like just re-watch the video over and over and just study the hell out of it, really.
And with the driver starting on the right-hand side, having to come to the left, it's going to probably make it even harder for that lead driver to really drag race away from any cars that might not have the same amount of power and grip.
Look, another thing that we've had quite a lot in the past is your lead driver comes out on your left, and then a lot of drivers used to sit there and do a big bump drag, like big handbrake into the corner. Where with this, you got a bit of a transaction, and you can throw it into the corner, and the chase driver can just pull up behind you. And it's sort of, as you said, like the chase driver has sort of a bit of a mobile clipping point behind the lead driver, which can set them up pretty good as well. So that was my idea for the leading and chasing layout. But and then like sort of moving further forwards, the meter off, as most know, you go a meter off the clip point, the chase driver can tuck in. Yeah, you're not really blinded, especially like some of the bigger cars. Like you'll see, like Dewar, Patrick, they'll just smoke the track.
You can't see anything behind Dewar. Don't worry about that. That's easy.
Yeah. Like Dewar's hot. Like he'll come in hot, fast, controlled, and just smoke. And like if you're behind him, like I've been practiced before behind him, and you're just like, you sort of just gone back to your memory. It's like, okay, I think the corner was about here. Just tip it in. But yeah, so that was the idea of pulling, instead of being on top of the clip, coming back a meter off the like turn 1, 2, and 3, and then coming out of turn 3. We always had that touch and go on the left side, so we just sort of made it a fill box. You come in, hold that angle as long as possible, fill that box, come back for the transition onto the right side, and then up over the hill, finish.
So with those touch and go zones in the first, 3 corners basically, we're a meter off. You're really looking for them to snap some angle on, and just, they've only got to hit that clipping point for just a moment there, don't they? It's not like they've got to drag it through that entire corner.
No, yeah, correct. So, yeah, it's really just a marker, just an indicator, like this is, yeah, the transition point. We are, like, the style side of it, like, as you can see, as everyone knows now, we've changed the judging criteria. Instead of being the traditional 100 score, we've gone the lead, angle, and style. Now, the style side of it, like, firstly, line, everyone knows you. Qualifying line is the line. Angle is like holding as much angle controlled over majority of the track, and then the style is the transition, how quick, fast they can get into that transition. Bobbles are a deduction, like slow transitions, braking, random braking, stuff like that. That's all part of the styling score. So that's what we're sort of really looking on that side of it.
Yeah, and I suppose you don't want to see those huge handbrake bum drags that we talk about. You really want to use a handbrake to trim the car up, don't you, and just get the angle set.
Yeah, of course. Like, you come into a corner, you might be having a bit too much speed, and you can settle the car quickly with a handbrake. Especially like for a chase car, you can sort of come in a little bit quicker, hit the handbrake, tuck in, and then carry the corners. But entering turn 1 and just sitting on the handbrake, like, man, it doesn't look good. It's not really a controlled sort of entry. So with the way that we've set up this lead, you shouldn't really need to use much handbrake. If anything, hardly any. It's just really just to settle the car.
You know, I think it's going to be good. I did speak about it earlier. Like, the judges don't want to see a slow change, a slow transition. They want you to snap the angle and hold that angle while maintaining that speed, which is why, you know, you really got to get some grip out of the car. Despite what people who've never been to drifting think it's just a smoke show, it's, you know, it's snapping to that angle and having enough grip to really push the car forward.
Yeah, 100%. Control is everything. Smoke is great because smoke, it just looks impressive, but you can sit there and do a burnout and have the same amount of smoke, but it doesn't look as impressive in drifting.
No, look, I think it's going to be a great layout this weekend and good for, I suppose, the drivers to be able to jump on this live stream and have a bit of a look at where those clipping zones are going to be. I mean, that's a big fill zone there in those last two corners. You're going to come out there with a lot of speed, aren't you?
Yeah, of course. There was a bit of concern with some of the drivers that with that crossover could make it a bit dangerous, but look, I think it's how you settle the car coming out of turn 3 is where it's going to set you up coming up over the hill. So yeah,
now for the judging part, if you have to sacrifice something to try and maintain, do you want to, I mean, I've always been under the influence that you don't want to sacrifice proximity if you're a chase car. So you'd rather, what's going to be the lesser of two evils, I suppose? Would you rather lose a little bit of angle, or would you rather lose the proximity?
It's a bit of a catch-22 on that sort of scenario. Proximity is great. You want that mirror and transition everything from lead to chase. So proximity, I would prefer to see a good proximity and dial a little bit of angle off just to keep up. But sometimes if your lead car puts you in a really bad line, it's hard to, I guess, mimic that angle. So I think it's really going to be the scenario. If the chase car is like hunting down the lead car, you're going to have to sacrifice angle to catch back up. But if you got two matched up cars, then I wouldn't want to see a loss of angle.
No, it's right. No, you want to see them both going side by side and emulating, I suppose, the car in front, and just give them enough room. I mean, if we can get it down to millimeters as you switch back and transition, that is like, look here on screen, that's almost perfect there. You don't want to put more than about 3 millimeters between them. So it's great. So it's good to see that we are already seeing that in the virtual world here tonight, all thanks to the Australian Drift Club. Now, you have come on board now as head judge this year, but we've got one returning name. JDM's back.
So just to sort of reassure that, I'm not coming down as head judge. It's going to be, it's an equal sort of. We're just sort of pretty much putting it equal out across the board. Being that we've gone to a different criteria, we've all got our own points. Like for instance, let's say come round 1, Martel does line, I do angle, and Aaron does style for the scoring. So we've all got a heavy part in the whole scenario. I'll oversee as much as I can, but we want to sort of give the role equally out between the guys.
How fantastic when you have someone like Aaron coming on board, of course, a wealth of experience behind the wheel, moving into this judging role for 2023.
Oh, look, honestly, I called Aaron and I said, Aaron, I really believe in you. I would love you to come into the Hi-Tec series as a judge. And at first she was a bit like, what, really? Like, you really want me? And I'm like, yeah, you're honestly perfect for it. I've known Aaron from day dot, like back in the day when we were at Initial Drift and all that, and doing Oran Park, like she was there in those days. As most of you know, she's competed in Hi-Tec. She's done a lot of events. She's also been in the back scene of organising events. I thought who not better to get Aaron. One, it'd be good to get girls into the sport a little bit more instead of get rid of that masculine, like that man sort of vibe that we get at the drifting. It was great when Aaron, I said, Aaron, look, go away, have a think about it, make sure you're happy, you want to do it, whatever. And we gave her a call back and she was keen as to go on. I'm like, yes, sweet, this is going to be great. At first she was a bit hesitant, like, oh, I don't know if what we can do is going to be right. And I'm like, honestly, Aaron, you know everything about the judging. Come give it a crack. I reckon you're going to ace it. So, like, honestly, I believe in it, and all the drivers just get behind her. She's really an asset, and like, she's got a wealth of knowledge too for drifting. So it's going to be good on many parts.
Yeah, look, I can't wait for this weekend, and we were talking about earlier, obviously Saturday is all about practice, and you got quite a bit in there, a few hours in the morning on Saturday and a few hours sort of after lunch, but the Pro-Am qualifying kicks off Saturday, and we'll get a top 24, which we will run to get to our top 16 on Saturday, so it's really practice and Pro-Am on Saturday. The very difference this season is we are going to stick with the qualifying for Pro on the Sunday, which has been different from what we've had in previous years, where they've qualified on the Saturday, come back out on the Sunday. that is going to make it a lot harder for the drivers in terms of breakages and stuff. They're going to have to get all that out of the way on Saturday now.
Yeah, correct. And then another thing is too, we've pushed really hard for battle practice as well. So a lot more time for the boys to actually get in deep with each other and just get those lines down pat between each other. It's an asset for both parties because if everyone can be on the same level, it makes for a great show and it makes my life harder.
Yeah, you've got to turn it around very quickly, don't you? Because there's no deliberating over scores or anything like that. You've got to get the tree set. We've got to get it out there. The drivers need to know when they need to come out in their battles. I mean, a lot goes on behind the scenes, and we've spoken about this offline, is that we're hoping to bring a bit more of that to this season on our social media through the Hi-Tec Drift Australia pages. What goes on behind the scenes, just little snippets and maybe some videos and some more information so people understand, we are trying to lift the level of drifting in Australia.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, yeah, we'll bring the camera up, we'll get some back behind the footage of what we do, just so everyone sees, because some people think it's such an easy thing to do, but, like, honestly, the pain that we go through with these events, how much effort we put in behind the scenes, is a lot more than what most take out of it. So it'd be good, yeah, get some candid moments, see some struggles, see the side of you. Everyone hears you, doesn't always see you, so yeah.
That's what I try to stay. Face the radio, mate. Face the radio. Oh, look, and we've got some great characters when we come to drifting. I mean, Mudgy's going to be there this year. We love him coming out. He's a tall man, got the sunnies on. He's one of the boys that, has to have a luscious Malay as he comes out. Him and Dabs, got to put a bit of personality into drifting.
Oh, 100%. Like, yeah, imagine that bloody flamethrower. Yeah, no, it'd be good. I'm glad that he's stepping it up this year and coming into the pro as well. It's just going to liven it up for him. He's definitely well deserves it. Yeah, it'd be good to see him and Dabs battle it out. That'd be a good one to see.
Yeah, you reckon Dabs will get the computer out, maybe take a couple of RPM off him, just make it nice. Look, I don't think Dabs will be too scared. The big LS versus the RB20. I know I say it's not an SR, it's an RB. He revs it. It's built by Jawar though, tuned by Jawar, but they rev that little motor.
I don't know, man. Dabs produces the goods. Everything that he touches sings.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be good to see the Blaze unit back, of course, the two Hi-Tec Oils cars. Can't go anywhere without those. Of course, Scott Shembry, I'm here. We might see him back in the Beamer for round one. And look, he looked really comfortable in the final round last year in that Beamer. I think he definitely made his position in that seat very comfortable.
Yeah, I had a chat to him at the final round. And, yeah, it was like, I'm like, how do you feel with the BMW? He goes, I'm sending it. I'm like, do you reckon it's got it? He goes, this car's got it, man. Watch me, I'm going to kill it. I'm like, okay. And as we saw, nailed it. Like, fortunately, like, they have struggled with the 350 all of last year. They're ironing out some bugs now, but, yeah. With that Beamer, man, watch out. He's going to be up there again.
And Jabs is no slouch behind the wheel either. If that car wants to be on song this weekend, Jabs just can put the car wherever you tell him to put it. So I'm sure he'll be watching a fair bit of this in that driver's brief we put together as well, and going through his clipping zones. He'll have no drama hitting those ones. Another one, Flash Smith. I'm great to see him. I know he had a go at the final round in the pro category, but that's another car that stepped up, put a set of semi-slicks on, and got to make a few changes when you put that amount of grip on the back of a car like that.
Yeah, I was chatting with Flash. He has done a few little mods to the car, just to fix it up a bit. Like, I reckon he's going to be another highlight. Like, last year he surprised a lot of people up in Queensland, like qualifying one. He was, all over it. He had a few issues, clutch died and stuff like that, and then jumped in Warwick's car and gave that a go. But I think, from what I hear, the car's pretty dialed. So, yeah, another person to watch. Flash stepping it up this year to pro, so that'll be good.
Speaking of Warwick, he's bringing the car in case Flash needs to borrow it again.
I don't know if anyone's been watching Warwick's page. So, Waz's, he's put the Hi-Tec in, he's got the nitrous on, dialed in a few little tricks into the car. So, He's got, from what I understand, he's got same power, but it's a lot more on the mark now. So yeah, it'd be good. Like, you know what? I reckon round one's going to be great. It's like everyone's done some things to their cars, so everyone doesn't know what they got to deal with until a day we get out there and practice, and then we see what these cars are making. But yeah, I think it's shaping up for a good round one.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be a battle of 86ers. Glenn Omerod's been sitting there, and he was 4th last year, and I reckon he made top 5 just about every round. He didn't quite get there on the podium very often, but he's so close. And then you got Saxon Moyes, who's really come out. I shouldn't say he's come out of nowhere in terms of drifting. I suppose he is very, very new. But mate, he's managed to set up one of the best cars in the country. He got a runner-up in Queensland, his home track. Took out the figure 8. Only did 2 rounds with the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series last year, and was up there in the points after that. Obviously doing so well. So he's back out, and they're in for a whole season. So look, he could be a real threat to Brody Mayer being a 2-time champion.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, I got a funny story. I went to one of Australian Drift Club's Super Series, and Super Drift, sorry. And I was in the black S15, and I pulled up, and there's this kid sitting in this car next to me. I'm like, who's this guy? Anyway, so we're lined up. We go out, and he just smokes me, and I'm like, who the hell is this? So I pulled over, like, and sat there and watched him. I'm like, asking everyone around, who's this? They're like, oh, it's this Saxon. I'm like, what's this new kid on the block? And then, yeah, it turns up to Hi-Tec, and he just, like, yeah, I looked at the 86 and I'm like, I know this car. At that round, I was the scrutineer, and I'm like, yep, I know this car. And he went out there and he absolutely put it on the door as the previous owner did, and I'm just like, yeah, this kid's going far.
He had a very bruised hand that last round because it gave in on the gear shifter. Obviously knocked over and smacked his hand against the steering wheel, and he still came out the next day and put it on. They replaced that and got it fixed up, and in the end it was a locked up diff. So look, they've worked hard behind the scenes, and they're a race team, right? Like, they've got the transporter, they put the effort in. So look, he's another one. But a bit of a shout out to Matt Grice. It's good to see him return. Obviously last year he had some heart surgery. We haven't seen him do some I suppose we haven't seen him at competitive fast tracks for the last 12 months, and I know they are working very hard behind the scenes to make that happen.
Yeah, no, I'll give it to him. Like, he came out of heart surgery, and he had to put a bit of a break on drifting for a little bit, and then just jumps back in the car. We see him down at Keep It Reed's event, and just dialed the car in. It was great.
Yeah, no, looks like we might have lost that. We might have overheated a few things on the stream there, boys. But behind the scenes here, but that's all right, right? Like, these things happen. It's look, it's not a paid stream. It's how it goes, and it's great. Yeah. We'll keep checking this out because we are going to show this a couple of times. So it's Hi-Tec Drifting Australia on for round number 1 for 2023 this weekend at Winton Motor Raceway. It's going to be a huge way to kick off the series in 2023, and a huge announcement, of course, the Australian Drift Club. The alliance there, I suppose, from that New South Wales club there, and being able to do this virtual drifting. So let's check it out again here, Glenn, as we run through it on our screen. I don't know if you've got it up there, but you go past this section. There you go. Now you've got to fill that zone on the left-hand side. You see a metre off these little strips. It's a great drone shot there. Second corner there, metre off again, and then it's on the power here. That's a big zone to fill. If they come back, they should have plenty of momentum to fill that second one.
Yeah, so just a bit of a breakdown for you. So there's actually 6 sections in this track, so I'll give you them as they go, which is pretty obvious. So you got section 1 coming in now. This is where, so we'll be judging line and angle section 1, then section 2, again line and angle will be judged here, and then switch back over. This is section 3, and 3 will be section 4, 5 on the outer. Oh no, when it catches back up. So yeah, that's section 4, and then come out here to a fill. This is section 5. Flick over for the transition, and section 6, and then over the line. So we're using that each section. It's 5 points line, 5 points for angle. It's deducted. The further away you are from the point, or not enough angle, you'll get the deductions. As for the style and fluidity, it's pretty much total score of 40, and that will be judged over the whole course.
Yes, there's a bit of breakdown there, and you look at those big sections, the final 2 sections they need to fill. They need to be on angle throughout the entire section, don't they, as well? It's not coming there with a little bit of angle, wind it on halfway through the fill zone, and then wind it off again. Snap the angle, hold it through that fill zone is what we're looking for. And you also don't want to stall the car up either, so we don't want to see you hit so much angle that the car slows down and creates a bit of a problem with the chase car.
100%. Like, everyone loves like a 90-degree angle drift, but sometimes it's just not feasible. So like even a nice 45 or a 30 sometimes can be just as impressive as a 90, but it's really, we're going for that style. So you want that nice quick snap, smooth drift, and then constant speed. No handbrake, no brake checks, like just a good constant throttle control. Honestly, it's very obvious. Up in the judging tower, it's very obvious, little mistakes and stuff like that. But then there is sometimes where there's a point in the track where you can't see things, which, like, judges score for what they see. Unfortunately, this style of sport, it's all relied on the judges. If they don't see it, they don't see it. But the judges are always watching, so, yeah. And
I suppose, get back to that, our 3 judges, of course, yourself, Aaron Burns and James D. Martle, is that you drive. You understand what they're trying to achieve in the car.
All of us have had like plenty of seat time. Like all of us have done behind the scenes. We've been in the sport. Like it's not like we just sort of watch it on TV and go, oh yeah, I can do this. So it's definitely I definitely have faith in all the judges, Aaron and James. Like both of them are on the point. They know what they need. They'll deliver the goods. Definitely, no hesitation there. So yeah, it's gonna be great. Honestly, I can't wait for round 1.
As will the drivers, with over 20 pro cars in here this weekend, and I think we're on the edge of 20 cars there for Pro-Am. It all kicks off this weekend. We're going to end us talking here at the moment. Of course, it's great to have everyone on tonight so they can check out the line. Obviously, they can review this. It's on in association with the Australian Drift Club. It's on the YouTube channel, their Twitch channel, and of course Facebook. I don't know where you're watching from, but we've been looking great to be interacting with everybody too on the comments as well. But for those who want to come down this weekend, Winton Motor Raceway, it's this weekend, the first round of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series for 2023. We're going to kick it off. It's going to be a huge event. If you're coming down Sunday, of course, spectators open 10 a.m. We'll have our pro qualifying followed by our pro top 24. And, of course, the stream kicks off at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So if you're over in Perth, you're probably having breakfast in about 2006. But if you're here on the East Coast, of course, it would be 1 p.m. South Australia, Northern Territory, Queensland. I think it's about half an hour difference. Might be an hour and a half Northern Territory, half an hour up in Queensland, things like that. So check your local guides there. Make sure you stay tuned to the Hi-Tec Drifting Australia Facebook page, because it will go live on there. So you can check all of that out. And obviously, and then we get underway, our top 16. That's what's all going to be on the live stream. We get it all run and done. And, of course, we always hang around for the presentations of Vic Brisket. So hopefully we'll be about 4:30 p.m. We've got about 4 hours of live streaming to do there. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. Make sure you head down there. Support the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series in 2023. Winton Motor Raceway, Victoria. We can't wait.